Hello everybody, welcome back to Ramblings of the South Stand. Conor here, and how are we all doing? We're back, and it feels like a bit of a while. Until I've really recorded. It feels like a little bit of a while that, you know, it's really flowed a little bit for me on the channel. I've been here, there and everywhere, new job, etc, etc, but I'm absolutely fantastically happy to be back here in front of the camera on this eve before the Bolton game. Anyway, so Leeds United go head-to-head, lock-ahead with Bolton Wanderers Football Club. And Leeds United really need a win, in my personal opinion. It's another must-win. We've got 14 finals left before the end of the season in May. And, you know, we all want that parade at Ipswich, don't we? Not thoroughly made that many notes for this game. Just kind of want to shoot from the hip and talk to you guys. The Swansea game was excellent. I thought it was thoroughly superb from Leeds United. A few mistakes here and there. Would I say it was in our top 5 performances this season? Probably not. But would I say it was in our top 10 performances? Certainly. I thought Leeds were exquisite for 85 minutes. And until that penalty was given away, I didn't think Swansea really had a hope in hell. But they did. They got the chance in the end. They made it 2-1. Ollie McBurney with a very, very strange celebration towards the South Stand. Don't really know where that rivalry is fabricated from, but it has. And now Ollie McBurney does the ear sound thing to the to Leeds pretty much. I presume that's going to be a pretty continuous theme throughout any time he plays against Leeds now. Very unusual, but yeah. Leeds United versus Ollie McBurney continues. The Twitter spat, and now obviously that kind of overrided itself into the game. But, you know, moving on to more pressing matters, I thought Leeds were excellent in the press. I thought we were dynamic, pragmatic, as I always say. We were excellent on the front foot and on the back foot. Good in defence, good in offensive situations. And I thought Leeds managed the game very, very well. I thought from back to front for 85 minutes, we were superb. I thought Calvin Phillips was absolutely immense. I thought Liam Cooper, special mention to Liam. I thought he was really, really excellent in this game in particular. Pontus, very, very good as well on his 28th birthday, getting a goal, a very, very nice finish. So Leeds went into the break 2-0 up, and obviously they came back into it towards the dying embers of the game. But you know, we got the win. It was essential, and since then it's been a bit strange, hasn't it? There's not been much, obviously, from our side of things, because you know there's not been much going on really at Leeds United aside from Marcelo Bielsa's conference today, where there was a little bit of news on injuries, who's going to be out for how long, and we sort of got a little bit of an indication of how serious things are really at Leeds United at the minute. Stuart Dallas comes back in for the Whites into the squad at the weekend, which is very positive. You know, we've got a body back. Stuart hasn't been within the side in a number of months now. Obviously, he got stretchered off against Sheffield United in that game at Bramall Lane, where the Whites went on to win the game 1-0. And obviously, Gaetano Brady and Barry Douglas still not in first team contention. But the big talking point this week, of course, has come from the sidelines. Kemar Roofe, the Leeds United striker of converted CAM, looks to be having an extensive spell on the sidelines, which is a damning blow, a massive blow, and could potentially be a condemning blow for Leeds United. Good in the channels, quick on the ball, gives Leeds United something a little bit different. Looked to be linking up very, very nicely with Patrick Bamford in the last couple of games. The Borough game was sort of an indication of how those two could link up nicely together, and the Swansea game was confirmation of that. Linking up absolutely fantastically well with Patrick, and it looked like those two were forming a little bit of a bond. But the gods have stricken against Leeds United once again, and it seems like Patrick Bamford and Kemar Roofe will have to wait to reconjoin and play in the same team together for another potential 5 to 6 weeks. So we'll have to wait on that one. I think that's a bit of a monumental blow, if I'm brutally honest with you guys. I think Kemar Roofe gives Leeds a hell of a lot. I've seen a lot of people come round and say, well, we can stick Izzy Brown there. You know, if you're thinking to yourself that Izzy Brown's going to factor in 3 games in 6 days, I think you're sadly mistaken, to be quite frank. I think Kemar gave us so much positivity going forward. I think he was quick on the break. I think he helped out defensively and offensively. And I thought, systematically, he was able to bring Leeds from our third into the final third really, really nicely. And he was sort of that engine in the midfield, really. We sort of started to see that coming round in the past 2 games, where he's not looked out of depth at all in that CAM role. But, you know, we lose his goals, we lose his assist, we lose his vision. And he's going to be a big loss, is Kemar Roofe, to this side. But Leeds United, we've dealt with injuries from day one of this season. 45 injuries for the Whites this season. Aston Villa have accumulated 44 points this season. So that just tells you the accumulative rate of how many injuries Leeds United have got this season. So it's quite staggering, and we're still third in the table. You know, ahead of Moneybags, West Bromwich Albion, ahead of Moneybags, Middlesbrough, and Derby County and co. So Leeds United doing absolutely incredibly this season with the injuries we've had to sustain. But we move on again. What we've decided this season and what we've dealt with this season is to just shrug that dirt off your shoulders, get on with it, don't moan about it, and continue with the games. And that's what Marcelo's instilled within the squad. That's what Carlos has instilled within the under-23s. And Leeds are able to do that week in, week out. We deal with this all the time. So what do we do at the weekend? After Marcelo's press conference today, it looks like Tyler Roberts will be fitting in the 10. Patrick Bamford will be in the 9. Do I think that is the right decision for this game? I probably would say no. I think we've seen the best out of Tyler Roberts when he's played in that 9, and at Middlesbrough, Patrick Bamford has played in that 10. I've got a few Borough mates at work as well who said that they liked that sort of interchange with Patrick Bamford and Assombalonga at Middlesbrough, and Patrick was able to play in that 10. He's got a nice silky touch, and he's got a creative mind as well. He's got a creative spark in his body. So I think that'd have been nice to see Bamford sort of creating a 2 going forward, but maybe Leeds playing a CF and an ST. And that'd have been lovely to see. Just Bamford maybe playing just in and behind Roberts, because I think when Roberts came in for Kemar Roof in that period, that bout of games where Leeds sort of slumped a little bit, I thought Roberts did really well. I think he got three goals in 5 games. And they're very similar players, Roberts and Roof. I think Roberts still lacks the sort of creative mindset that Roof has, and maybe some runs Roof makes that Roberts doesn't. But I think Roberts has grown into a very good player at Leeds United. But do I think he's worthy in that 10 role? I think we've seen throughout this season in little bouts of games that Roberts doesn't really fit that 10. I think Bamford in that 10, Roberts in that 9, I'd have been much happier with that. And maybe that's something we will see throughout the game. Izzy Brown, another contentious point with Izzy Brown. Was he going to start? I never thought he was going to start, to be honest. We saw it on some of the socials that Brown might have been in contention. Of course he was going to be in contention. Of course he'll be in the squad. Will he feature in the game? That is a different question, and only one Marcelo can answer. But now Bolton know that Roberts will be starting in that 10. Will they reconfigure? Will they look at doing something a little bit different? We know they've got a rock-solid defence. Normally they play 5 at the back. When I talk about them having a rock-solid defence, that doesn't mean that they don't concede. They still concede. So, that is a positive for Leeds United. Norwich obviously romping them 4-0 at the weekend. Do I think Leeds will do the same? Personally, I don't. I think the injury worries for Leeds at the minute. I think it impacts us creatively. We will always create chances. 407 chances created by the Whites this season, more than any other club in this division. Do I think we'll create chances with what we've got? 100%. 75% of their chances were created by Pablo Hernandez, so Leeds are definitely going to still create. I think Harrison's coming into his own a little bit, but Bolton will create some problems. I do thoroughly believe this. When Leeds have played Bolton in history, it's never been 3, 4, 5-0 for Leeds United. Even when we've been on song, it's always been narrow games, and I think it's going to be something similar this weekend, so we've just got to wait and see. But, if we can get 3 points and potentially increase the goal difference, that'll be very, very positive for Leeds. We need to stay in our own lane, not bother about what other teams are doing. And I'd love to see the inclusion of Izzy Brown potentially in that 11 this weekend. And what I mean by that is hopefully he'll come on for a 20, 30, maybe even 35-minute bout. It seemed like Bielsa still thinks that he's got somewhere to go to start for Leeds United, which is interesting. He doesn't seem to think that there's the correct link-up player there with Izzy Brown at the minute. When will he be ready is my question. 14 games left. This will be pivotal to stick Izzy Brown in, but obviously the mastermind, the genius that is Marcelo Bielsa, doesn't feel that it's necessary to start him in this game. So we've got to trust in Bielsa, something we've done all season. What would I have liked to have seen as maybe opposition to what we've gone for in this particular game? I'd have liked to have seen Jamie Shackleton in the number 10. He's played there for the 23s. He's played in that midfield. He's played defensively. He's played attackingly. I think we've seen the best of Jamie Shackleton this season going forward. I think that little darting run he made against Swansea sort of had shades of Lewis Cook. I think if we see that potentially coming off the bench, then we've got options, haven't we? We've got Izzy Brown on the bench, we've got Jamie Shackleton. Who do I think will feature, if they come off the bench, maybe if Tyler Roberts isn't working? I think what Bielsa will go to is I think he might switch Bamford and Roberts around, or bring Jamie Shackleton on. I think Izzy Brown could still be 1 or 2 games away from starting from the Whites. So yeah, that's what I think, guys. Leave your comments in the section below of how you think Leeds will start the game, what you think the result will be. I'm going to go with a really, really narrow 2-1. I think the key player to look out for the Bolton side is going to be Sammy Amiobi. I think when Leeds are going to be pressing, they could potentially counter-attack with Sammy Amiobi. If injuries have hampered Amiobi, I think he'd be playing at the top level. So let me know what you think, guys. Comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in a bit.